Welcome back, everybody. This is Nicole from Wildflower Valley Farm again, and I've got a few little projects today with the chicks and the rabbits that I'm going to show you all today. One of the things that I'm going to do is bring some of the older chicks outside to put into this cage just for the day. The weather is beautiful, it is warm and sunshiny outside, and I am of the belief that sunshine and fresh air is good for all living creatures, and with it being so pretty, I just want to give them the opportunity to be outside. So I'm going to bring them out here. It's just a temporary thing for today. I do think that it's still too cold for them to be outside at night, but I'm going to let them come out in this cage, and it's full of grass and worms and things they can be learning how to forage. So they're still small enough that I just carried them outside from the brooder in these buckets.
These buckets?
One bucket wasn't big enough for all of them.
The chickies are scared.
The chickies are scared. Well, let's get them unscared. Here, you can pet the chicken. Pet it. Yeah, sweet chicken. Alright, let's put them in here where they can play in the grass. Yeah, Mama got it.
Oh, you want your back. Chickies for the turkey.
And I just want to reiterate that these chicks are all the same age. I purchased them on the same day. I have never had Cornish rocks before. I've never raised them before, and I knew they grew fast, but it's still shocking to me how much bigger they are than the other birds here. You can see a vast difference. It looks like they're as much as 3 or 4 weeks older than the egg layer breeds that I have here with them, but they're all the same age. But I'm just going to leave these guys here and let them enjoy their day in the sunshine. I'll probably leave them out here until it begins to get dark. Or the forecast is calling for rain, so if it looks like it's threatening to rain on them, I'll bring them in before dark. Another reason why I'm not leaving them outside alone just yet is this right here. This is one of the Not My Cats that has adopted me. And while this cat, and I don't know if it's a male or female, I honestly haven't looked, but while this cat seems to be rather friendly, I'm fairly certain that he or she would eat these chicks if given half a chance. They would be pretty secure inside this cage. If it were warm enough to leave them out here 24/7, I actually wouldn't be that concerned about the cat, because the cat cannot get through this cage. And eventually he or she will get bored of watching them and won't be sitting here constantly stressing them out. The other project that I'm going to be working on this afternoon is fixing this cage right here up for the rabbits. I use this as kind of a tractor for rabbits. I can move them around the yard. It's the same size as the cage that my 2 chickens are in the garden. But the difference is that this cage has wire on the bottom to prevent the rabbits from digging out. Rabbits love to dig, and the wire keeps them from doing that. So I can move them around the yard and I don't have to worry about them digging out. So what I'm going to work on now is cleaning this up. The tarp needs to be replaced. These tarps generally only last 1 season or 1 year. The wind and the rubbing on the wire cage and all that just really does a number on those tarps. But I generally don't pay more than, I think $5 is the most that I've ever paid for a tarp this size. I usually buy the 4 feet, or not, I'm sorry, not the 4 feet, usually the 6 feet by 8 feet tarp, because it's the right size to cover the majority of the cage but still leave plenty of area that's not covered for airflow, and that prevents them from, gives them plenty of shade when it's hot out. It also protects them from the wind and the rain in the spring when those are the major concerns. It'll keep them dry and protected, but it allows me to put the younger rabbits, usually just the ones that I'm growing out for meat, or like these rabbits that I've been talking about, you know, where I had to get the whole litter to get the 2 adult rabbits that I wanted. I still have 4 of those left. I sold 3 of them yesterday. I still have 4 of those left, and I'm going to put them in this cage because, number 1, it gives them the opportunity for some fresh green grass, and number 2, it also will cut down a little bit on my feed bill. I'll still feed them some pelleted feed, but they actually prefer the green grass to the pelleted feed, so they will eat more of the grass than the pellets, which, like I said, will cut down on my feed bill, but also it gives them more fiber and more fresh food in their diet, which is healthier for everybody involved. So I'm going to work on that. And I just use zip ties to hold these on, and not only does it make putting the tarp on the cage super easy, but it also makes taking the old tarp off of the cage super easy as well. And these little cutters that I have here, I actually bought at the Dollar Tree. I use them primarily for harvesting vegetables, so that I always have something out here to cut some of those thicker stems like squash and things, but they work great for cutting zip ties as well. For food and water inside this cage, I still use a J feeder for the pellets, and then I'm just using an old pot for their water. I'm going to attempt to bend the pot handle so that I can attach it to the outside of the wire, and that will keep them from moving it around and tipping it over, hopefully. To do that, I'm just going to stick a brick in it to hold it down, and then try to bend down the handle. That's not going to work. It's not going to bend as easily as I had hoped. Well, bending that handle is not going to work like I had hoped, but hopefully wedging it in this corner and wiring it, the handle itself, to the cage will help prevent them from spilling it, and if it doesn't, then I'll just have to do something different. I have wire on the bottom like I mentioned. As I move it around, the rabbits are still able to reach through the wire and get to the grass. This fencing is 2 by 4 inch holes, and it allows them to reach through. It's also not exactly on the ground, but it's just about an inch or so off of the ground, so even though their feet will slip through as they're walking, it's not going to hurt their feet because they're still going to be standing on the ground and not the wire. But the fact that the wire is there will prevent them from digging any holes and escaping. One thing I want to point out is this J feeder is turned backwards as far as being able to pour feed into it. If I turn it the other way so that this door opens up against the wire, then the feeder part is the wrong direction for the rabbits to be able to get to it. But with the wire back here, I can't just pour through the wire because there's chicken wire there that keeps smaller rabbits from being able to escape through the bigger wire. So I can't pour through the wire into the feeder either. So I have just used an old milk jug and cut it to use kind of as a funnel that I can just stick in there. And then I can pour the feed into the jug itself, and it will funnel down into the J feeder without spilling to the outside. And then just shake it a little bit as I pull it out, and all of the feed falls down into the feeder without spilling any to the outside of the cage. You can pet, but we can't put him down. Is it a soft bunny? So they immediately got started on eating that grass. They're going to enjoy that. And they have enough in here to last for a day, maybe 2. I'll move them as often as needed. If I run out of grass, I can put them back in the cages, but hopefully that won't be necessary. And one last check on the chicks before I close out today's video. They are enjoying this grass, scratching around, pecking at it, stretching their wings and legs, and just having fun. So, looks like the rain is going to hold off so that I can leave them out here until right before it gets dark this evening. So that's all for today's video. I hope you all have enjoyed it today, and be sure to comment any suggestions or questions that you have in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and check out the description below for links to all of our social media accounts.